is Step 1 with Freddie Wilson. Welcome to another episode of Step 1. I'm Freddie Wilson. We are back in 2024. I know I took last week off. I know I said I was going to do an episode. Had some technical issues. My microphone, it broke. Don't know how, but it broke. So we're at the back to this for now. But we're back. I hope you all had a great holiday, great Christmas, great New Year's. And we got a great show for you today. My good friend Nadav Herstik is returning to the show. We're going to talk a little Michigan football. They got a big win against Alabama in the Rose Bowl. And they're playing in the upcoming national championship against Washington. So Nadav is very excited for that. He was at the Rose Bowl, so that was pretty cool. And of course, we're going to do a full recap and preview of the NFL. All right, for the last time this season, we're going to start with college football. We finally have some notable games to talk about. It's been about a month since championship weekend. So we saw Caleb Williams opt out of a Holiday Bowl and backup Miller Moss throw 6 touchdowns for USC. Arizona, Missouri got big bowl game wins. Florida State got absolutely demolished by Georgia. And of course, the Ducks absolutely dominated Liberty in the Fiesta Bowl. I will say I'm very happy and really glad how the season went for the Ducks. I kind of wish we played an actual team in the Fiesta Bowl instead of Liberty University. I know they went undefeated, but the quality of teams in Conference USA versus any Power 5 conference, it's just too big of a gap, and they were just no match. And of course, we had the playoff games. We're going to start the Rose Bowl. I'm not going to break it down in detail now because I talk a lot about it with Nadav later in the show. Again, he was at the game, and he's a huge Michigan fan. It was a great game, but a lot of chaos, a lot of mistakes by both teams. It was great to see Michigan finally get a playoff win, but we're going to talk more about that later. For now, let's break down the Sugar Bowl, where we had Washington take down Texas. Wild game. Washington could have easily blown out Texas. They could have won by 30 if they wanted to. That's not how Washington does this. They just love to keep games a little bit close. They love to keep teams in it. And I actually have a theory about this. I think Washington is perfectly capable of blowing out teams by 40 every single game. They have the offense. They have the guys to do that. I don't think they want to do that. I think they like keeping games close. Maybe because they just want to have a little bit of an edge. Maybe just not get complacent. I don't know, but every game they have won, they've barely won. They've had some doozies, and they always find a way to win. And I just think that's just how they like to play. But yeah, so Washington had a lead at the end of this game. All they needed to do was just run the ball. And they decided to run trick plays that didn't work. They let Texas score. And then Texas got another chance to win a game. But to be fair, that wasn't the Huskies' fault. The clock stopped because their running back got injured, which would have been the worst thing if they lost the game because Texas got an extra 20 seconds and they almost scored. They had some chances. But anyways, it was just a great win for the Huskies. I will, of course, be rooting for Michigan in the national championship because as a Ducks fan, it is inappropriate for me to root for the Washington Huskies in any circumstance. So for 24 hours on Monday, I will be a huge fan of the Michigan Wolverines. Go Blue. All right, let's break down the NFL. Fun weekend, chaotic weekend of the NFL, and it all started Thursday night with the Browns and Joe Flacco taking down the Jets. Browns are in the playoffs, and Joe Flacco doesn't look like a guy who just got off his couch. I want the Browns to have a playoff run just because it's such a great story. A team filled with injuries, started 4 different quarterbacks, finding ways to win games. They made the playoffs in a pretty competitive division. I know they didn't win it, but still, give them some credit. Moving into Saturday, controversial game in Dallas where the Lions got the 2-point conversion with a trick play to a lineman, but then the play was called back because apparently the lineman never reported eligible, even though it looks like he definitely went up to ref and said, hey, I'm the eligible receiver. To be fair, other linemen came up to the ref because they were trying to mess with Dallas a little bit because Dallas could probably see that. It was unfortunate, needless to say, but I love how the Lions immediately decided after penalty that they were still going to go for 2. They were not going for the tie. They went for 2 on the 8. Then there was a penalty on defense, and it was at the 5. They still didn't get it. But I just love the aggressive play call. They're not trying to tie. They're trying to win right there, right now, and I love it. Moving into Sunday, all the teams I wanted to lose to help the Packers did in fact lose. Falcons lost. Seahawks lost. Buccaneers lost. Also, the Panthers lost, giving the number one pick to the Chicago Bears because the Bears have that pick from the trade last year. The Chiefs, despite their struggles, found a way to beat the Bengals and win the AFC West. I still think the Chiefs are going to be strong in the playoffs. I know they're struggling right now, but that defense is playing really well, and defense does win championships. So their offense is going to figure it out, but that defense is really good. I think people are sleeping on them just because of how bad the offense is from what we are accustomed to. But again, don't sleep on the Chiefs. They could easily be in the Super Bowl. But let's talk about Sunday night. The Packers, from start to finish, dominated the Vikings. It was glorious. And I can't believe I'm saying this. The Packers might actually make the playoffs. Just need to win next week against the Bears. Who would have thought? I did post a clip on Instagram, by the way, shamelessly plugging. Follow me at Step One with Freddie Wilson on Instagram. So I posted a clip there saying the Packers are a dumpster fire. I don't like watching the Packers on Sundays anymore. Let's just say that clip from early November aged poorly. And my New Year's resolution is not to jump to conclusions about my sports teams. I was so convinced the Packers were unfixable. This was a lost season, but I'm happy to say I was wrong about that. And I'm really looking forward to next week. Hopefully we'll beat the Bears. We usually do. But again, let's just 1 week at a time and be happy where we are. And now let's get to my interview with my good friend and Michigan superfan, Nadav Herstik. All right, today we welcome on a very special guest, a reoccurring guest, I should mention, our resident Michigan Wolverines fan. Go Blue, of course. Nadav, how we feeling today?
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah.
Why'd you become a pirate?
Listen, here's the deal, Freddie. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Who's
I
got
actually will
better
be
than us?
rooting for the Blue.
Nobody.
I.
Nobody.
How you feel about the Huskies? How you feeling about that? Let's.
Nobody. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Let me tell you something right fucking now, Freddie. This is a family show. Excuse my language. I'm going to tell you something right now. I had one of the best days of my life yesterday. I'm out here in sunny California. I live in Santa Monica. And when Michigan got to the Rose Bowl, when Michigan was the number one seed, I said, damn, I feel like I got to go to that game. But it's expensive. So tickets start getting up $400, $500, $600. I'm not going to the game. I'm not going. It's too much money. Excuse my language. I'm a waiter. I'm a salesman. I have 2 jobs. I can't afford that. And then my friend calls. She calls me. Hey, Nadav, listen, I have an extra ticket. You got to come with me. Otherwise, I'm going to have to sit alone. How much is it? It was a pretty penny. Let me tell you something, Freddie. But I'll tell you this right now. It was $475. But here's the deal, okay?
Worth it.
And it was more worth it than I can imagine. Okay, I worked a double shift. I covered every expense, and I went to that game yesterday. And I'm going to tell you something right now, Freddie. That is probably the best game of football I've ever watched in my entire life. I have 0 complaints. Obviously, I wouldn't be here talking to you right now if we hadn't won. But at the end of the day, I was very stressed, and I will walk you play by play through that game because I could watch. We came back and we started watching the highlights, and I could do it again right now because I am so juiced up, and it's a day and a half. It's a day later. Go Blue, baby. Go Blue.
All right. The only play I actually have a question about is how much did you shit yourself when the game almost ended on a safety?
All right. I didn't think it was gonna be a safety.
It was close.
So let me explain where I was in the stadium. I was on the other end zone. Where the safety was, I was in the complete other end zone. My section was supposed to be section 11, row 60. Section 11 is Michigan's end zone, right? All the way up row 60, right in the middle of the end zone, but like all the way at the top. What ended up happening was the Rose Bowl logistics are not great. Getting in and out, not great. The stadium itself, the environment, gorgeous, beautiful, stunning. I loved it. Absolutely incredible. You were tailgating on a golf course on the other side of it was wonderful. What was surprising to me real quick was I didn't see a lot of people from Bama tailgating outside of the game. It was all Michigan people. But then when you got in, half the stadium was Bama. And I was surprised to see him. Now, I was walking towards my section garbage seats, cheapest tickets you can get, top of the stadium, all the way in the back. But as I'm walking towards my seats, there's a big blockage in front of me. There's no movement. Okay, it's gonna be time. I'm an impatient guy, so I said, "Hey, listen, me and my group, with me, this girl, another guy. Why don't we walk down to the field? We'll just walk walk to our section down at the field, so we don't have to deal with all the, all the traffic up here while the people are walking. We walk down to the field. There's more traffic down there, more foot traffic. So I say, listen, there are some front row seats right there at the 5-yard line. Why don't we sit at those seats right at the front, and we will wait until whoever it is comes. They kick us out. We'll go to our seats. First quarter comes. Kickoff happens. Nobody comes. Nobody comes, Freddie. And every single time somebody walked past us coming right out of the tunnel on the left, we're like, this is it. This is it. Nobody came. The whole game, I was sitting at the 5-yard line on the front row. This is probably $3,000 tickets.
Everybody came. They just wasted $3,000.
I had players coming up to my section, waving at their parents, waving at their mom, blowing kisses to their girlfriend, because I was in the family section, okay? And I sat in the front row and nobody said jack. It was the best experience of my life when Blake Corum ran in to tie the game, 20-20. He goes like this. And I was probably 10 yards away from him. Losing my mind.
That is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool experience that you just sat seats that weren't yours.
It was incredible. When the safety happened at the other end, we had a couple situations, errors on punt returns, on field goals that could have
blew an extra point.
We blew an extra point. We missed a field goal. We had a boofed punt almost towards the end there where we almost literally got a safety. And the game was lost. So,
very much for an interception. The guy just happened to be out of bounds and then went back in. You got lucky on that one.
Was that the first play of the game?
That was the first play of the game.
Yeah, first play of the game.
He's throwing the ball away and it gets intercepted, but he just
first play of the game was a pick, but it got called back. But the thing you don't see on television is what's happening on the field when you're there. And what happens on the field is defense comes out. Defense comes out. You don't really tend to see those kinds of things. It was really interesting for me because I had the opportunity of seeing the broadcast. I was right next to the stand where they do like the halftime show. And right there was producers watching the TV broadcast. I was able to see the game in front of me and the broadcast.
That's kind of cool.
It was an awesome experience because when they would go to commercial on TV, I saw what was going in front of me. Some guy comes out with a big sign with red numbers on it.
Yeah, that's at every single game.
2 to 3 minutes, however long the commercial break is, it's for the entire stadium.
Did they not do that at the Big House? Did you do that at every Oregon game I've been to?
Well, I didn't notice ever before, but they did it this time. And when we threw that pick, the first play of the game, defense comes out immediately. But of course they reviewed it and it wasn't a pick. But so all in all, I'm a happy camper today.
How are you feeling about playing against Washington? Like 2 undefeated, and this is a game I'm actually very excited for.
Yeah,
I think it really could go either way.
I completely agree. I would not say that this is a shoe-in or a guarantee in any way. Washington throws the damn ball. They are sharpshooters. We have an amazing rush offense. Okay, Washington doesn't tend to run the ball. They had 105 rush yards in their 530 yard game. 535 yards in their game. 430 that was passing, and that's Penix. He's pretty good. Passing yards out of any college football player in the college football playoffs. 2 of those are Burrow, by the way, and he was number 4. 430 yards in one game, that's a lot. So there's a little bit of a concern is if they're going to pass the ball like he did against Texas, you got to be a little worried. But here's the thing. They can't do a lot on the ground. So if you hold them to that, if you keep your D-line doing what your D-line does, Michigan, and you get your DBs to start making some plays that puts a little bit of pressure on Penix, that puts a little bit of pressure on the offensive coordinators where they're starting to air out the ball and it's not landing, well, they're going to start to crumble. So at the end of the day, it comes down to you have to stop that pass and you have to put the pressure on them where they start to feel a little bit uncomfortable throwing the ball, force them to run in a situation where they're not comfortable with. Their running back just got hurt in the last play of the game against Texas.
I know, to give Texas a chance to come back. That was the worst part. Like, not only is he did he get potentially really injured? Like, the clock stops. Now Texas had 40 seconds. I know they didn't win, but
yeah,
imagine if Texas pulled that off.
It's unbelievable, Freddie. I live in a house. There are 5 of us in this house. 2 of us went to Michigan. The other 3 went to the University of Washington. Okay, you have 3 UWs and 2 Michigans.
This is a fun household.
We came back
divided.
It's exciting. We came back from the Rose Bowl and they were all at a bar watching. watching the Sugar Bowl, and my friend texts him. My friend texts my friends. They said, "Hey boys, like let's go out. It's time to party." This is probably like a minute 30 in the game, right? You're like, "Oh, it's a lock. It's a win." And then all of a sudden, okay, maybe it's not. So you got to say this, Freddie, and I'll say this right now for the listeners, for the viewers, for anybody who cares about college football, which I didn't until I went to Michigan. That was probably the best day of college football, especially college football playoffs, in a long time. And
Yeah.
that's 2 games down to the wire. It's as exciting as it gets for America.
Yeah. I mean, I think last year was all right, but like this year was fantastic.
I don't even.
Well,
All I
last
know is
year your team lost.
yeah, we lost TCU, and after that, I just I lost it. Georgia obviously smoked TCU, and it was
Yeah, that game was ridiculous.
yeah. So this is actually, I think, probably good for America. We
And
don't
two
want
undefeated teams. Like it's
yeah,
gonna be fun.
SEC. Yeah, 2 undefeated teams. SEC is not in the college football natty. Finally, okay, this is cinema. So I'm about as thrilled as I can possibly get. I'm a happy camper once
Yeah.
again. I'm a happy man.
But
I think
again,
we just
Penix is gonna give you guys
yeah.
a run for money.
Well, what do you think, Freddie?
Because we underestimated what Oregon played. Like Oregon was what I thought was the better team. Because like Washington has struggled Washington's won all their games, but they've had some doozies.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Freddie, I think it's probably true of, and you could do this or that, should have, could have, would have, right? It's the most painful statements you can make as a loser, should have, could have, would have. And I made those statements a whole lot in high school. I'll tell you that very much. Okay, I'm at 1-7, but I'll tell you something right now. That's because I was hurt. But here's the deal: Oregon had the opportunity within a score of each single one of their games to
We
beat
lost by
Washington
3 each time. Every
each
time we
time.
played
And I
Washington,
think
Dan Lanning era, we've lost by 3.
University of Washington has, I believe, the highest number in history of consecutive wins under 10 points.
Yeah, sounds about
Those
right.
are tight games every single time. I'm not really sure how you can compare that. If you want to compare and contrast that sort of stat against Michigan's record, that's not really what's important. What is important, however, is to say that Washington absolutely deserves to be where they are. There's no doubt about it. But they had a lot of situations, Oregon missing a field goal in the regular season against them, and their defense just stopping Oregon, I believe, in the Pac-12 championship.
Yeah.
Not giving
Well, they
Bo
stopped
the
him and then they just ran out the
ball.
clock.
Yeah.
Like Bo Nix was literally sitting on the sideline like
Yeah.
this, and all the announcers were like, he's just visualizing the play when he gets his opportunity. He never got it.
He never got the opportunity. That's painful for you guys. If I was an Oregon Duck, I would want UW to go down the drains.
Yeah. Hey, but we won our bowl game. No big deal. We won the Fiesta Bowl against Liberty.
Sure.
It was fun. Don't get me wrong. It was fun. I'm glad we got like a big win, but like it's not the same when you beat Liberty University.
I'd like to talk a little bit about the new format. This is going to be a college football
12 team playoff. I'm
we
very
have a new
excited for
format
it.
situation going on. Not only a 12-team playoff, we have essentially 4 new divisions. Okay,
Yeah,
because
4
you
new
have the
conferences.
Pac-12
Yeah,
becoming the Pac-2, the Big Ten, which was 12 teams, I think now is the Big 16. It's still
you're
going to be called
18
Big
now.
10, 18, whatever it is. The SEC is adding, I believe, Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, but I mean that's not a huge difference. Like that,
Not massive, but it changes the Big 12, which is now going to have some other teams coming in.
Big 12's got Colorado, Utah, Arizona State. And, oh no, let's not forget ACC added Cal, Stanford, and SMU.
So it's a weird situation. Overall, it's going to be a lot of traveling for the players, which is
unnecessary. Yeah.
Yeah, which is when you think of home field advantage, it's not just the noise. You got to think about those players coming off of a plane, right?
Well, I mean, again, they'll account for that. Like they'll work with the schools and they'll get there earlier if needed.
Yeah, but but at the end of the day, like you had a player who just rolled out of bed that morning, and you had a player who just flew 8 hours last night. So there are going to be some home field advantage.
They don't get there the morning of the game.
The night before, you get what I'm saying? Maybe
they get there 1 or 2 days before. Yeah, usually they get there like the Friday night before.
It's gonna be a big change next year, and this is the last year of a 14 college football, natty.
I think it's gonna make for some fun games, and also I don't know if it's confirmed or not if we're actually doing this, but I think the top 4 teams get a bye. The next 4 teams get to host a playoff game. That's gonna be something. Can you imagine if like the Big House hosts a playoff game?
I mean,
like how cool would that be?
You want to talk about like a stadium, a championship level stadium. You talk about the Big House. So I went to Michigan. Obviously, I've had my number of games in the Big House, 200 plus consecutive games of over 100,000 people. I was at the Rose Bowl yesterday in Pasadena. Beautiful, historic, visually stunning stadium. Incredible atmosphere. It was warm. It was sunny. There was not a cloud in the sky. Logistically, getting into that stadium was a little bit frustrating. I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody walked into the stadium at 1 o'clock. Everyone seemed to have the same notion because they were tailgating at 1 o'clock. Games at 2. All right, let's walk in at 1. You got 70, 80,000 people trying to get in at the same time. I understand there's a little bit of congestion. But Big House has. By the way, I don't know if everybody knows this. They flew a B-2 bomber over the game during the anthem. That was unbelievable.
Loud? Was it loud?
It was loud, and I kind of felt
the vibration.
I felt the vibration. It was really a sight to see. Definitely something that I'm proud to have in my history books. I wish I almost took more footage, but that's just to say that I was having such a good time. I didn't even think about taking my phone out.
I mean, that's again, Rose Bowl's like an iconic stadium. I went to the Rose Bowl just to see the stadium when I was down in LA. I sent a Snapchat to some of my Oregon friends. I'm like, it's January 1st, 2024. Oregon beats Georgia. Little wrong.
Two teams didn't make it, and that's all right.
Neither team made it.
It's very interesting.
Wanted that.
Yeah, and let's talk about a little bit of what if before we get into the finality of this championship matchup. You have that what if. You're an Oregon fan. You had two opportunities. Let's say hypothetically you beat UW in the regular season, okay? And so UW is whatever it was, 12, 11. You get they
didn't lose. So like even if let's say we beat them in the regular season, we lose the Pac-12 championship. Like it would have gone to the Pac-12 championship winner.
So you think if was Oregon undefeated? No, they were not.
We were not because we lost to UW. We had one, so we had one loss going to the Pac-12 championship, but we could rewrite the script. We could beef them. Probably going to playoff because again, we are Pac-12 champions.
If you beat University of Washington in the Pac-12 championship, you're in the playoffs. But not only that, you have to consider what are the implications of the other seedings and the other teams getting in, because FSU would have been the only other undefeated team.
I don't think FSU would have made it even if Oregon won. It
probably would have been Michigan 1, maybe Texas 2.
Then you could talk about FSU, maybe
Bama 3, and then year 4.
FSU got robbed. I mean, I'm glad it was Bama just because it made for a much better game. I think FSU got clocked. Like
I think history is played in favor of the College Football Playoff Committee in this sense. Obviously, FSU's players decided to either enter the transfer portal or declare for the draft. So they were playing a lot of freshmen and sophomores. Hence, they got smoked by 60. But at the end of the day, they lost by 60 in the bowl game that you got to ask yourself, well, if we want to show up and tell everybody, yeah, we should have been in the college football playoff, maybe, player starters. A lot of those coaches didn't have the opportunity.
I don't like that you can transfer before the bowl game. Like, you can opt out, but don't transfer. Wait till after the season's over.
I agree with it, but a lot of the players are going to say, well, if I'm going to the league, I don't want to risk getting hurt.
Yeah, that's why you can opt out if you're going to the league or graduating. But if you're just like opting out just because I want to transfer, like finish the season off.
I agree with that. I think it's a point of principle, a point of pride, but that's just not how it went. Anyway, FSU lost by 60 to Georgia. So and Bama made for an incredible fucking Rose Bowl game. Excuse my language. Also, I have no regrets.
The last play by Jalen Milroe when he got stuffed, like, why would you run that play? Like, I understand it's a play that has worked, but like when you need one play to work, you got to do something that like they don't know exactly what you're going to do. And we just kind of knew it's gonna. Jalen Milroe is gonna run. Yeah, Tebow did the same thing. I don't remember what year. I want to say maybe 06, 07, one of those years. I remember watching in a documentary. Tebow ran the same fucking play. QB power right. It didn't work.
He could have ran out towards the flat, ran a bubble, and probably gotten in the end zone there. I think on his right side. I don't even remember the play that much because right after it happened, I was just filled with emotion. Kind of forgot what they did.
Got the ball and just ran right into the defensive line.
Basically, right into a congested line. Here's what happened at the game. Okay, there was an injury timeout because right after the guy, it was third and I think it was 3rd and 16 or 17 or something. They throw a 13, 14, whatever yard pass on the right, get to the 3 yard line, they're stopped. But their player essentially tears his ACL. Okay, so you have an injury timeout. That's about 30 to 1 to 2 minutes right there. What happens? They line up. It's 4th and 3. The entire stadium is on the edge of their seats. Alabama has a good read. Michigan calls a timeout. That's another 30, 45 minute, 2 minutes. Okay, what happens on the other side? It happened. We go back again, lined up. Alabama
All timeout.
So it was like we're all sitting there, like play the damn game. Come on.
Just like,
and then so you have probably 7, 8 minutes before.
And that's the play you come up with.
Down. And then here's the thing: you have there. It wasn't Saban's call. He doesn't call the plays. Their offensive coordinator said, "Listen, we want to give our guy the ball, give him the best opportunity to score." I don't know if that was it. Clearly wasn't because they didn't do it. But
I'm not saying a trick play by any means, but at least like a play like that you can do. Yeah. But like that the defense hasn't seen a billion times, and now a play that even all 90,000 people in the Rose Bowl know. All right, this is exactly what's going to happen. Everyone knew he was going to do that.
Yeah,
it would have been cool if he did like a jump pass, like Tebow did the jump pass.
Yeah,
that Clemson play with Deshaun Watson. We don't like Deshaun Watson on the show, of course, but like, hey, Hunter Renfrow just did a little bit wide open. Like that was a great play. You know why? Because did you really think he was going to do that? No.
Yeah. Listen, I don't know. I'm not an offensive coordinator. I don't play college
football. I applied to be the Iowa offensive coordinator.
I'm not an analyst. All I know is that they called a play and it didn't work, and I'm glad of it. That's all I can say.
Well, in my offensive system, we don't run the ball. We're an air raid offense.
Well,
Iowa has yet to respond, by the way, believe it or not.
It's hard to believe, Freddie. It's hard to believe they didn't respond to
They posted on Indeed. Of course I was going to apply. They put a public job posted to be the University of Iowa's offensive coordinator.
I love it.
And I read my cover letter. I read it during the podcast. I reposted it. I said, your offense sucks. I can fix it.
I love it.
We're only throwing the ball, and we're always going for it on 4th down.
I love it. Hell yeah, Freddie. Freddie, you have why don't we talk a little bit about our thoughts on what next year is going to look like a little bit?
Yeah.
We have a 12-team playoff now. Okay, a little bit more March Madness style. My question is this. Okay, you have 4 bowl games really that kind of matter. You have the Cotton Bowl, the Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Rose Bowl,
Orange Bowl. There's New Year's 6. New Year's 6.
And then what are the other 2?
There's the Peach and the Fiesta.
Peach and the Fiesta. Okay, those are the big 6.
Yeah.
Which of those games you have? Unrealistically, Sugar and Rolls are the big 2. Like it just usually is the case, right? That's
usually, yeah. I mean, obviously the Rose is like the big one.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the national championship should just be played in Pasadena.
You know what? I think
they should redo
whatever announcer it was that had that take. I completely agree, and I think
it was Kirk Herbstreit who had it. But like, they should redo it so that like the season ends on January 1st, and it starts at the same time, and you get the sunset in Pasadena because it's an iconic sunset over the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
but I went, it was like raining, but
at the stadium, Bama fans were on far side from me, and Bama fans had about an hour longer of sunshine than we did because the sun set, and I'm on this side of the stadium. You got the sun behind us setting. Bama's still getting sun. And I asked my friends, I was like, "You guys think that matters? You think the sideline over here because it's gonna be a little chilly? Maybe Michigan fans, Michigan players are getting a little chilly. Bama's got the sun."
Actually, it matters. It depends on the stadium, but I know down in Miami, they've built the stadium where the Dolphins bench is in the shade. The opposing team's bench is not. I think in Miami, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah, you want that heat.
Because it is goddamn hot in Miami.
Yeah, it was about 60 degrees, and it was super nice when the sun was out, but then when the sun went down, it's still 60 degrees, but it was real damn chilly and cold.
That's why you layer up.
But listen, it was a hell of a game. I could talk about it all day. I mean, I'll just do a quick recap. I mean, first quarter, we did well. We score. I've caught a few back and forth of possessions. Bama scores. It's nice and tied. Good game. We're feeling good though because we were working that ball. And on Bama's first possession, we stopped them. They didn't do nothing. So we felt good.
Milroe was getting absolutely clobbered. Like every possession was a sack for Jalen Milroe. Like even if they were to score, like Jalen Milroe must be in so much pain right now.
Yeah. Also, his center kind of threw a bunch of low snaps to him.
Yeah, the center was struggling too, but like I know his offensive line likes him, but like they need to like him more.
There's momentum swings that you can get as a fan watching from your home, but there's momentum swings you feel at the stadium. And at that stadium in the third quarter, end of the third quarter, into the beginning of the fourth quarter, first half of the fourth quarter, there was a shift. Okay. Bama took control. All right. It was only well, it was 13-7, I think, entering the half. Call me incorrect, but
I don't remember off the top of my head.
We missed an extra point. And my friend goes, well, that can matter. And I said, hey, shut your mouth. I don't want to hear that out of your mouth right now. Okay. And then they come in, they score 14-13. 14-13. Okay, we're down. Bama, I'm forgetting how it went down. No, they kick a field goal or something. I don't know. Whatever. What ends up happening is it's 20-13. And all of a sudden, Bama's band plays Mr. Brightside, which is Michigan's song, right? They play Mr. Brightside, and it was like a fun little thing they did. And then they get the ball back again. They play rolling out a backwood at Tennessee Byway.
Oh, you play Dixieland Delight banger.
And this was I think after some sort of possession. I don't remember exactly when it was, but momentum was very strongly in favor of Alabama. There were less than 8 minutes on the clock when in the fourth quarter when they started doing that. Each touchdown drive for each team was about 4 minutes and 40 seconds. The previous two touchdown drives for Alabama and Michigan. When Michigan got the ball back, it was 20-13. They had 4 minutes and 41 seconds. I look at the clock and I say, okay, we have just enough time to get a winning drive in. And guess what? It didn't even take that much. Because Corum runs it in again, I think, with maybe 2 minutes on the clock. It was absolutely exciting, electric, and the Michigan fans, we shut them up. That was great. And then obviously a scary punt that takes it down at the 1 yard line.
That was a pretty scary punt.
That would have been the most painful fucking thing I've ever experienced as a fan.
I was a little worried because like once they were to one, I'm like, oh, like could they sack McCarthy and get a safety? I'm like, it crossed everyone's mind.
Yeah. And everybody in the stadium was holding their breath each extra point after that missed field goal.
Yep. Hey, I'm a Packers fan. I hold my breath after every extra point.
Yeah, every extra point was holding your breath because our guy missed an extra point and then he missed a field goal, and we were like, if he misses another one, we could be screwed. It would have been a game-winning drive on Corum if he missed that field goal or missed that extra point. Doesn't matter though, because we won the game in OT. But ultimately, hell of a game. And we're on to the Natty now, so we can stop talking about the Rose Bowl because Rose Bowl's over. Move on to the next game.
Well, can we just talk about the NFL for like 2 seconds? Can we just acknowledge the Packers could very much make the playoffs?
I'm gonna be honest. I have no clue what the state of the NFL is right now. I in terms of that, I had to work 2 doubles in order to cover for Monday because they wouldn't let me take off. So I was working 12-hour days Saturday, Sunday. I missed every single.
Putting to work.
And I also lost in fantasy in this league with my camp friend Freddie here because my backstabbing trader of a counselor, Schroen, decides to tell everybody that he's boycotting the league and he's benching every single one of his players.
We had different understandings of what a bracket is. Like,
listen,
I just counted the same way. I'm the commissioner. I thought we voted to not change the system.
The system is stupid.
I'm aware.
But I didn't really care. I was in the losing game because I lost. I think we have our playoffs set like a week too early.
We do, which we will change next year. Commissioner Wilson is on it.
Anyway, Mike Schroen, my counselor, decides to
who's by the way, huge fan of a show, obviously.
I hope he listens to this.
He's not. He's never watched it.
Of course he won't. And he benches every single one of his players. And I was like, Mike Schroen he benches every single one of his players. If I play everybody, it's kind of just like, whatever, I guess I'll do it. But you know what? No, he's going to be whining about it because the loser has to send the trophy to the winner, pay for the shipping.
Yep, so I got a text about that from our good friend Eli today.
In solidarity with Schroen, I'll bench all my players too, just for fun. Because why not?
He welched.
Worst case scenario, we both lose and we split it, and I'll be a good sport. And because he was whining about it, I'll split it with him. And what does he do? He resets the lineup 20 minutes before the game. And now I bench players. I got to score 0 points, and he scores 100, and I'm the fucking loser. because he decided to backstab the other kid in his
Well, while
team.
we're on the topic, I'm gonna like actually add up what you did on your bench and see if you really
Okay.
lost. I think you did. He had Amari Cooper.
Oh, okay. Well, then I
That
probably
game
lost
where
that.
Amari Cooper had like 270 yards and 2
Yeah, you have 50
touchdowns.
points or something. Listen, if I
But
lost
yes,
anyway, points wise, then I'll pay for shipping.
state of the NFL is the Packers could very much be the playoffs. All we got to do is beat the Bears.
Wow.
So I
Okay.
actually posted a video. I tried really hard to make this cool reel where I had this idea where like, what if like I showed a video of me like from like early November where I'm just saying the Packers are garbage. We're done. The season's over. And then you like Q and T Swifts, you need to calm down with Jordan Love. And I spent a really long time trying to figure out how to get them used to Q in at the end of the video. I finally figured it out, posted, then I realized, oh, it's on my personal Instagram. So I should just kept it on because I worked really hard on it. But I deleted it and tried to repost it on mine and I couldn't figure it out. Instagram reels are really hard. They're not intuitive.
Well, that's just what I mean. Listen, good luck to your Packers. I know you're an Oregon fan and you didn't do well, so you making the playoffs would be
We had
big.
a great season. Like, just because I know we were like national championship aspiring, but I don't think this season was a failure.
You did have a great season. It was a great team, and you know what? I think I would be more scared playing Oregon than I am playing Washington. I'm a little scared. I'm nervous just because I want to win the damn game and I care. But
Now, Oregon,
Washington's a great
I
team. Don't
wouldn't.
get me
It
wrong.
was one of the best Ducks seasons I've been a part of. Like, this may have been the most fun I've had as a Ducks fan. Like, yeah, I know we
Absolutely,
didn't
you guys
beat
were great.
Washington and that stings, but like we ended Coach Prime right there. Like, that
Yeah,
was glorious.
yeah.
I started watching
We
that
all knew that
Coach
was going to
Prime
happen.
docu series actually.
We all knew Prime was going to be over after he got to Oregon, and then they just crumbled.
Uh,
But listen, in terms of NFL, this whole situation with the Lions, right? I was working when that happened, but I saw obviously,
oh,
ineligible,
the
whatever.
refs just sucked.
The refs absolutely boofed it.
But
Where
also,
does that put the Lions in terms of playoff contention?
they're still in the playoffs. They won the NFC North. They've won. They've won the NFC North for the first time. They haven't won a division since the NFC North became a thing. Because the last time they won a division, it was the NFC Central.
Wow. So they're going to be in the playoffs, but where's that? What does that do in terms of seeding? Does that really?
They're like probably they're 2 or 3 seed because Niners are number 1.
So it just puts Cowboys in position essentially.
But the thing is, I kind of like if the Packers make it, if the Lions somehow can get to number 2, I don't know if they can. I haven't looked at it. I want a Packers rematch.
That would be a battle of the Midwest, and
I know I want that so bad.
That would be incredible.
I think it's gonna be Packers Cowboys, but again, like if the Packers make it, we have nothing to lose.
If you beat the Cowboys in the divisional round or whatever,
or the first round, but again, we have nothing to lose if we make it. Like no one I expected nothing from this team.
It's an interesting look this year, and the Chiefs' downfall is a glorious thing.
They still won the division.
I know, and they're still going to make the playoffs, and you can't really count.
They are in the playoffs.
They could fully make a Super Bowl and they could win it, and I'd be furious. But they've had a lot of frustrations this year. It's been very pleasurable to watch them.
I had an idea of like if Browning had managed to go to Arrowhead and win, I was gonna like try to make a meme to call it Browning Head. You know how they used to call Burrowhead when Burrow never lost to the Chiefs?
I love it.
I had an idea, and I'm like, come on, Jake Browning, I've never rooted for you once in my life. I will never root for you again.
Can we talk about the Browns for just a second? Like,
I love Joe Flacco.
Who doesn't? I think everybody's on his side.
I want Joe Flacco to I want them to play the Ravens, and I want them to beat the Ravens.
I don't even know who I would want to win in that game. Like, I'd love for Lamar to get his chip. I'd love for Flacco to get a chip. I'd love for
this Browns team, like how crazy this season has been for the Cleveland Browns. Like pretty much all your dudes have been injured. Nick Chubb goes down, Deshaun Watson goes down, whatever. He's the worst.
He sucks anyway.
We're anti Deshaun Watson podcast, but
sure.
Like, you're playing like Dorian Thompson Robinson at one point. You're on your 4th quarterback. You're just like, get Joe Flacco off his couch out of retirement. Like, hey, like, come play for the Browns, the team you used to hate playing because you played them twice a year. It's like, okay, sure. Dude can barely move, but hey, he's making throws. He's doing well.
I mean, it's interesting because we had the Jets had Flacco is a year ago or 2 years ago. Like
Yeah,
it
I
was
love how they were like trying to like play that up. They're like, how do you feel about going to play against your old team? I'm like, well, how is that the narrative you're
not
trying?
it's not his
I
old
forgot
team.
Flacco played for the Jets.
Yeah, he was on the Jets for a year,
He
and
also played for the Broncos. Remember
by the
that?
way, he was terrible. He sucked,
I
and that's
I
because the
saw him play the
Jets sucked.
Broncos when I went to Packers Broncos at Lambeau.
So all I
Two
can
Super Bowl
say,
quarterbacks, by the way, I should mention.
you could easily say, by the way, that Joe Flacco is raised different, okay? Because he was playing against Ray Rice and Troy Polamalu, okay? He was
He
getting
wasn't playing against Ray Rice. He was on the same team as Ray Rice. Ray
he
Rice
was
was a
playing
running
with sorry, he
back.
was playing with Ray Rice against Troy Polamalu and against Ray Rice in practice reps. The point is
Ray
that he
Rice
was
was a
getting
running back. You're thinking of Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis. Excuse my lack of knowledge, frankly. The point is, Freddie, that he was playing against a different generation of
He
backs.
was. He was playing against. But again, this still there's still plenty of great defensive guys that he has to play against.
Yeah, absolutely. NFL is still good. Good. It's the
Like,
best. It's amazing. But the point is that you gotta love what Flacco's doing. It seems that this year you've had like like quarterbacks come in and have like a 4 game stretch of being like the face of the league.
yeah,
So
Josh Dobbs. I love the
Dobbs had a
astronaut.
stretch. Tommy DeVito had a
I
stretch.
love Tommy DeVito.
And now Flacco is getting a stretch, and we'll see if he can continue it until the end of the
I just
season.
want some like random, like, I don't know, like, what do you think like is the team that's gonna like sneak up on people in the playoffs? I know we're gonna do an NFL playoff on the show, NFL playoff preview next week on the show, but like I have my takes for both NFC and AFC of like who you don't want to mess with.
Please enlighten us.
NFC, I think, let's say the Buccaneers somehow make it if they win the NFC South. That could be a team you don't want to mess with. Like they might be good. They're gonna play at home.
Baker's actually had pretty good numbers this year, frankly.
I still think the Eagles are gonna figure it out.
I do too, frankly.
AFC, if the Bills make it, which like, it's not a give me.
Not they could
No,
they could
well
miss
there
the
there
playoffs.
is a potential
You would
playoff
need
scenario.
Jacksonville and the Steelers to win, I think,
Well, there's it could come down to where
and
if
then to
the
lose.
games they need other teams to win don't pan out, it could be the Bills are a 2 seed or if we're out of the playoffs, which is just
Yeah,
how does you get to that?
I don't know. The Bills really didn't like. I don't think
But
they
again,
missed
like
anything
if
this year.
you play the Bills right now, like they're playing well, they're playing good football. Like
For the
they know
Bills,
how to win.
yeah.
So I think we'll see what happens. But fortunately, we're running out of time on a Zoom call. This is what happens when you don't have the pro version of Zoom.
Less than a minute. Oh, Freddie.
All right, but I want to thank you for coming. Good luck in the national championship.
Thank you.
Go
Go
Blue.
Blue.
I'll be rooting for you guys because
Thank you.
I won't be rooting for the Washington Huskies.
I'll
All
say
right.
this right now: it's a prayer for the University of Michigan to win their first natty since '98 or whatever it was, '97. I don't even
It
know.
was 97.
97.
All right.
Listen, Blue,
Thinking enough.
Godspeed. Stay safe. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. All right. Thank you for having me on the show, Freddie, and I'll see you next time. Looking
All
forward to
right.
it.
Thanks, Nadav. All right. It is week 18 of the NFL, and we have the perfect balance of meaningless games and games that can have a lot of implications on the postseason. It all starts Saturday with a doubleheader, which begins with the Ravens versus Steelers. Now, for the Ravens, they probably won't play most of their stars. In fact, they've already said they're not playing Lamar Jackson. They have the number 1 seed. They got the first round bye locked up. They're resting Lamar Jackson. Makes sense. A lot of teams do that. But the Steelers have a lot to play for. They have a slim, slim chance of sneaking the playoffs. But also, if they would, they could say they beat the Ravens twice. And even if the Ravens go on to win the Super Bowl, it's pretty hard to live that down if you are a Ravens fan. So I think the Ravens are going to try really hard to win, just not with their primary stars. But Tyler Huntley has some experience in big games, so he could easily win this game for the Ravens, and they could beat the Steelers, which is always great for the Ravens. On Saturday night, a battle for the AFC South between the Texans versus Colts. Now, even if either team wins, they still need the Jaguars to lose. The Jags have the easiest path to win the division. All they got to do is just win. But it's still a big game. The Jags lose. Whoever wins this game wins the AFC South. So the AFC South is still up for grabs. Moving into Sunday, the battle for the NFC South rages on. I may have said AFC earlier. I think I said NFC earlier. I meant AFC. We're talking about the NFC now. So the NFC South, there's a battle brewing because someone has to win that division. Buccaneers have the easiest path. All they need to do is win. They're playing the Panthers, who have nothing to play for. But if the Buccaneers were to lose for some reason, the Saints could clinch this division if they win against Atlanta. There's also a battle for the NFC East. The Eagles could find a way to win if they win against the Giants and the Cowboys lose. And of course, how about the Packers? All we need to do is win against the Bears. I know we always beat the Bears. We haven't lost to the Bears since 2018. We sucked in 2018. But if you are a Chicago Bears fan right now, this is your Super Bowl. Your team is a lot better than week one, but we absolutely demolished you. And now you have a chance to knock out the Green Bay Packers. I don't think I've ever been more nervous about playing the Bears. Even when the Bears were like good, like that NFC Championship game in 2011. At least I knew back then Jay Cutler would find a way to mess it up. And he did, because he's Jay Cutler. The Packers were the bane of his existence. This game feels different. It just hits different. There's something I don't like about it. But hopefully we'll get to win. We'll get into the playoffs. And again, we can get into the playoffs. We got nothing to lose. Like, no one expected anything from this team. So I'm actually excited if we make the playoffs because, again, it's just a good thing that we can find a way to win games. And maybe we'll get a win. Who knows? And on Sunday night, we have a battle for the AFC East. The Dolphins versus Bills. Now, the Dolphins have already clinched a playoff spot. But the question is, will it be playing a home game or on the road? Bills don't have that luxury of already being in the playoffs. Somehow the Bills find themselves in a situation where they win it, where if they win this game, they win the AFC East and get the number 2 seed. But if they lose, they're eliminated from the playoffs. Again, there's other scenarios they could get in if certain teams lose. But like, I want this to happen because it just sums up the Buffalo Bills season. Like, you're either in the number 2 seed or you're out of the playoffs. There's just nothing in between. Should be a good game down in I don't know if it's down Miami, but it should be a good game. Looking forward to chaos this weekend. All right. I want to end the show by giving my sports documentary review. I know I said I was going to watch Hard Knocks in season with the Miami Dolphins, and I will, but I did watch all the available episodes of Coach Prime, and I actually thought, I know I've hated on Dean a lot on the show. It was pretty good. I still think my points are valid about Coach Prime, but at the end of the day, it was a very good documentary. I think he did a lot of winning off the field for the University of Colorado and the entire Boulder community. And I think the show did a great job capturing his impact on the Black community in Boulder, Colorado, and just the Black community in the state of Colorado as a whole, which is only 3% of the population. So I respect what Dion is doing off the field way more than what he's doing on the field. Because again, you won 4 games. Like, you can't act like you're swagger around, act like a winner. You won 4 games. You didn't make a bowl game. Like, you have no right to do that. But you're doing a lot of great work off the field. So as of his taping, I don't think there's another episode. They only did 4 episodes. So they showed all their wins, or the first 3 wins. Then they showed the loss to Oregon. Great episode. But it just seems like they might not release more episodes. Which is maybe they just don't want to remind everyone that they blew a 29-point lead against Stanford or something. Because I really want to see what the post-game locker room footage of that game is like. We're up 29.5 against a terrible Stanford team, and you found a way to blow it. Again, still think Deion's overrated. I don't think Colorado's back. I don't think they're going to be back anytime soon. But I almost swallow pride. It was a good docuseries, and if you're a football fan, it's worth watching. That's our show this week. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week. Big Fred, over and out.